Chapter 2. Help from Above. Extraterrestrials were not uncommon to the priests and priestesses of ATLATIA. In the first period of ATLATIA, visitors from the Pleiades assisted Atlanteans in the preparation of great crystals, which would become the source of energy for this continent. Within a hillside near Alta, great crystals were uncovered. The Pleiadians instructed these scientists, who were at that time also priests, in the preparation of these massive stones which held unimaginable energy. By uncovering the hill to expose the great crystals, and by etching facets upon these stones to reflect the rays of the sun, they were able to produce an energy which would enable them to fly ships in the air and in the sea. The uses for this power was limitless. The Atlanteans learned to store this energy in copper vats, so that no matter what the weather, they would be able to utilize this energy. In this early period, the aliens arrived in aircraft. Many of these were disc-like in shape and had whirling engines which allowed them to hover above the earth. For many years they would visit Terra by arriving in these ships. After the first destruction of ATLATIA and the rampant spread of negativity, greed, and power, the visitors kept their distance, and only observing those on Terra from afar. They would only communicate with those of high spiritual growth, such as the high priests and priestesses. They would materialize in a private area, such as one of the temples, and only if it was necessary for the good of man and the planet. The high priestess Miram was one of the contactees of the aliens. Commander Quetzal of the planet Era, which was located in the Pleiades star system, would contact her either by telepathic messages or would physically materialize at the Temple of Light. The Temple of Light was a great pyramidal structure built of gold and saturated with gems inset into great designs of hieroglyphics signifying its importance. In the center of the building was a wondrous fountain surrounding great crystals, clusters of white crystals reaching for the top of the temple. The top of the pyramid was open to the sky. A winding stairway led to the chamber at the top. The stairs were lit with small lights which were set on each step, reflecting into the crystals and the water below. The Temple of Light was the fifth temple and the highest spiritually. It was the center of all knowledge. It represented to those who attained entrance eternal light, no longer human form, but the true spirit of the one that they were. Very few passed into this temple. However, it was here at the top of the stairs in the sky chamber that Commander Quetzal would meet Miram. One day Quetzal was on a mission of great importance. The Pleiadians for years had watched out for the Brothers of Terra. The continual quest for technical power had risen considerably since the implantation of the fire crystal. Originally, the fire crystal was instituted by the priest/scientists for the sole purpose of enhancing their way of life. The action of the Atlanteans in the first period proved that this power source conceived for good could be turned around and used for destructive means, which it did. Now another form of energy had been discovered: nuclear energy. Miram knew of Quetzal's arrival and waited for him in the sky chamber, the highest perch in the top of the temple. Miram, the high priestess of ATLATIA, was a vision. Her long dark hair billowed down in curls to her waist. Atop her head was a golden crown with braided coils of gold, covering her ears with gold-jeweled cone pointing to the sky. She wore a gold and white gown and robe with crystals glistening in the light. Around her neck was a large necklace with huge gems. Miram is strikingly beautiful. She is the most powerful of all the priestesses, with powers beyond any of her colleagues. Suddenly, particles of energy appeared sparkling in the air. They formed the body of Quetzal from the planet Era. He was dressed in his space gear, silver bodysuit with a great jeweled belt. On his buckle was gigantic red gem. His headgear was a skull cap with a crown of crystalline projectiles that sparkled in the light. He was strikingly handsome, with features that could have been those of any human. However, if you look closely, you could see that his ears sat slightly higher upon his head. "One with love, Miram," he greeted her. "One with love, Quetzal." They embraced in a hug. "I sense you bring bad news and tidings." "Yes, I've come to alert you. Your scientists here in ATLATIA are performing some very dangerous experiments." Miram shook her head. "I know. I have felt the tremors. I did not know where they came from. They are testing the newfound nuclear powers underground. These tests are not being done for the good of the people. I sense that the sons of Belial perform them for their thirst for power. Miram led him down the stairs to the fountain. The two of them displayed a beautiful aura around them. Yes, they have become more and more. We of the One are but a handful. Even King Atlan sits more on the side of them, although he calls himself of the One. Action must be taken, and it must be taken now, Quetzal commanded. These explosions are disturbing the vibrations of Terra, and should they continue, she will probably try to cleanse herself with earthquakes, volcanoes, and tidal waves. ATLATIA may not survive. Yes, I know what that means. ATLATIA could face another great disaster. I assume that meditations and prayers will not be enough. No, you must stop the experiments. I will. Although she said she would stop the experiments, Miram didn't have a clue how she would do it. If the sons of Belial were performing these experiments in secret for the reasons of power, they were not apt to expose themselves and their motives. Contrary to the earlier times in ATLATIA, there were next to no priests working as scientists. Since the breakup of ATLATIA, there has been a greater division between the faction of those of the One and the sons of Belial. The sons of Belial now dominated the scientific community. In fact, it appeared that only those who followed their beliefs were promoted into the more advanced forms of technology. However, it could never be proven. King Atlan and his queen Selena were originally of the One. He was the son of King Amalus, who were the son of longtime kings of the One. Even as a boy, King Atlan had become more sensitive to the needs of the sons of Belial. After King Amalus passed on and Atlan took the throne, not only did technology grow, but the incentive for power in the world did also. Atlan was not a power-hungry king, but the increase in technology afforded ATLATIA to become a giant in international trade. Atlan still was a pious man. However, there were times when he would sway to the sides of technology over the side of spiritual growth. Now it appeared that ATLATIA was in grave danger. Quetzal rarely made a physical appearance to Miram, and today, although he didn't show it, she sensed his fear. I will keep you abreast of further developments. May the light of the One be with you. One with love, Miram. One with love, Quetzal. Quetzal touched the great jewel on his belt, and little by little his body changed into sparkles of energy, and then faded away. Miram knelt in front of the fountain and prayed. Please give me direction how to proceed to prevent this possible disaster. She then closed her eyes in meditation.